Hey YouTube, so I'm gonna do the first time questions, I guess you can say. It's just like a list of questions of your first time in like all these like random events. So I got it's a big phone, don't mind it. I got my questions and I'm just gonna do it. So it says my first tweet. Um, my first tweet was like, I'm bored. I had just got new to Twitter and I was like, I'll just tweet something because everybody was just tweeting anything. So I was like, I'm bored. That's what I tweeted. My first YouTube video. My first YouTube video was more of a phony kind of video, I guess you could say. Like, I was nervous and I didn't really know how to talk in front of a camera. I thought it was awkward and it was just like hi, this is my name and this is what I'm going to do on YouTube and comment anything you want to do. Yeah. that was basically my first YouTube video. It was an introduction of myself. First person you subscribe to on YouTube. I really don't know because before I started making YouTube videos, I just used to use YouTube for music. So I'm not particularly sure exactly my very first subscription, so I'm not sure. My first Facebook profile. My first Facebook profile was this picture that I had ran into my mom's room and I took a picture of it. Like, I was in like 8th grade, I think. And I ran into my mom's room and I took a picture and then I posted it. That was my first photo. Do you still talk to your first love? I've never really been in love. So I guess that's a no. But I guess if I did have one, I guess I still would talk to them. That would be weird if I didn't. What was your What was your first alcoholic drink? Whoa there. Well, my first alcoholic drink was the drink that my mom let me sip on her cup. I think it was wine. That was my first alcoholic drink. Like, my mom, it just smelled really good. So I was like, hey mom, let me get a sip. And she gave it to me. And I took a sip of it. It wasn't that good. But, it was okay. What was your first job? I would say my first job would be cooking for this Christmas party coming up. Yeah, I've kind of never really had the ideal of working in high school like everybody else got to. So, technically, my first job is coming up. That makes sense. So, that would be my first job. Yeah. What was your first car? Um, First, it wasn't my car, but I drove in it for the first time, so I consider this my car. It was my cousin's car, and he let me drive it. He was teaching me how to drive in a parking lot, and yeah, I liked that car. It was nice to me. It was small and affordable. I liked it. Who was the first person you text today? Who was the first person to text you today? The first person to text me today was my mom. My mom had texted me. Yep. Isn't that wonderful? um, who was your first grade teacher? My first grade teacher was uh, the sweetest teacher. Her name was Mrs. Gray. And she was pregnant. That's how I remember her. Because she would show pictures. She would ask us names and we would like draw stuff for her and things like that. So she was really cool. I liked her. Where did you go on your first ride on an airplane? I went to Florida. I went to Disney World. That was the first time I went on an airplane. It wasn't, I was nervous, but it was excited at the same time. I sat with my mom, and we went kind of at night, and like we saw like this lightning storm. Like we wasn't in it, but like you could see it if you look in the window. So that was cool. Let's see. Who was your first best friend, and do you still talk? My first best friend was my friend named Cameron that I went to school with in middle school, and yes, we still talk. We didn't go to the same high school. Actually, our high school was rivals, and we both out of state for college, but we still talk to each other. Where was your first sleepover? At my house. It was like in the basement, but I wasn't comfortable like sleeping in my basement. So like while everybody was downstairs asleep in the middle of the night, like I went in my own bed and I slept in my own bed. That's so wrong, right? It's messed up. What was the first thing you did this morning? Pee? That was like the first thing I did this morning. Pee. Yeah. What was the first concert you ever went to? To be continued, because I still haven't went to a concert yet. Yeah, doesn't that suck? Eh. First broken bone. I fractured my pinky toe. Guess that counts. I fractured my pinky toe on graduation day. I was trying to step over a pothole and on my heels, and like my ankle went like flap flap, and that's when like I was like, oh, I feel like I broke my toe, and then I took my shoe off and it was like blue and purple. So yeah, and then I fractured it. It was my first piercing would be the piercing up here. This is not my first piercing. This is actually my second piercing. I go through the story all the time. When I first got my ears pierced, when I was a baby, and my ears grew in, it kind of grew upwards, so it was like all this room down here. So my first piercing became my second piercing, if that makes sense. So that's when I first foreign country that you've gone to. My first foreign country would be Japan. When I went for an exchange program, I think that would be like the best experience of my life. That was like it was really fun, and I really learned a lot. So, first movie you remember seeing? Um, it was a Disney movie. It had to be a Disney movie because like we had all of the Disney movies on cassettes. Like we had every single Disney movie. So my first movie was probably a Disney movie. One of the princess movies, I'm sure. Well, when was your first detention? I think my first detention had to be when I was in middle school. I think I think I talked back to a teacher because she was saying something and like I didn't agree with it, so I told her and she got mad at me, so she sent me to detention. Well, who was your first roommate? The first roommate that I saw was a boy. He wasn't supposed to be here. Like they had switched up our rooms, but when I first got here, he was just like, "Oh, I guess I'm your roommate," and I was like, "Oh, okay, what up? You cool? Long, you do your girls, you so they quiet or whatever, and we can be cool." Then they was like, "Oh no, we don't have co-ed dorms." I was like, "Oh, okay." That was the first person I saw though. If you had one wish, what would it be? Um, I really don't know. I really thought about that. I guess if I had like one wish, it would. I don't know. It would probably be to be able to learn languages quicker and understand them. Yeah, that way I can learn languages way faster. That would be awesome. What was your first sport you were involved in? The very first sport that I was involved in was volleyball. My ninth grade year, I tried out for the volleyball team. That would probably be the first sport I was involved in. What is the first thing you do when you get home? Um, it depends. I would usually cut on the fan because it's hot in the house, or I would use the bathroom most of the time. When was your first kiss? When I was in middle school, like 8th grade. It was awkward. It was like a little movie scene type thing. He was like, "Oh, I want to kiss," and I was like, it's like I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to do it. And then like it was time for us to leave for class, and he was like, "Hey, Jasmine," and I was like, "What?" And I turned around, and he kissed me. I was just like, "You stole that," but it was awesome at the same time. So that's like the end of these questions on this list. So I hope you enjoyed it. This was like little know something a little bit more about myself. And I hope you guys have a great day. And bye.